Hello everyone, it's Mrs. Hostetter, still up in Pennsylvania, enjoying time with my friends and family. I had some downtime, so I thought I would read a little bit to you. I'm on page 30. I am going to take a reminder here. That's The One and Only Family, a fabulous book by Katherine Applegate. And I am going to take the jacket or the sleeve off so it doesn't become cumbersome or bothersome. Meatballs and Mystery. A few days after the first demon doll appeared, Maya brought us a second one. Kenyani didn't even bother checking it out. She tossed the new gorilla over her shoulder, where it landed in a pile of meatballs she'd been preparing. Meatballs are rolled up pieces of, well, sometimes we toss them at humans when we're bored. Never once in all my years has a human thrown one of their own meatballs back. I can only assume they lack the skill to make them. I brushed off the new stuffed gorilla as best as I could. Then I sat it next to the other one on my favorite daydreaming rock, large and flat and sun-warmed. 4 glazy black eyes gazed at me indifferently. Indifferently kind of means like you don't really care. If something is indifferent, it doesn't really matter. I think they're kind of cute, I remarked. I wrapped their limp arms around each other. You are such a softie, Kenyani said as she munched on an apple core. Why would Maya give these to us? There's the picture. And I'm sure you're wondering because we read the blurb in class. Well, I'm sure you're not wondering. I'm sure you figured out why they did give them the little demon dolls. Can't eat them, said Kenyani. She lay back on the ground, hands clasped around her large stomach. So what's the point? I remembered hugging Not Tag when the cold black nights threatened to swallow me whole. Maybe they're for us to hold on to, I said. That, said Kenyani, is why we have each other, my dear. A Dog of the Streets, page 33. It was Bob who solved the mystery of the demon dolls. We were chatting at Canine Corner. That's what Bob calls a special spot where the elephant and gorilla habitats meet up like 2 wedges of pie. Ruby, our delightful elephant friend, was there too. Technically, dogs are not supposed to visit the park, but Bob is lucky enough to live with Julia, one of our favorite humans, and sometimes she brings him in her backpack. Her dad works here, caring for the grounds, and he and the elephant and gorilla keepers sort of look the other way when Bob's around. I think everyone understands how much we need each other. Julia had lifted Bob onto his favorite perch, a stone wall where he can see everything despite his small size. I'd mentioned the demon dolls, and they were the subject of much speculation. Ivan, Bob said, shaking his head, I don't mean to be indiscreet, but take a look at Kenyani's girth. And girth is like the width of something. I guess he's talking about her belly. Yeah, well, we put on a few pounds. Too many bananas, I suppose. But what does that have to do with demon dolls? Bob looked skyward. He sighed. For a smart primate, you sometimes surprise me, big guy. But then I get out in the world more than you do. I see things. I know things. I'm a dog of the streets. You live with Julia and her parents, I interrupted. See how I'm reading with prosody like I'm having a conversation? Hopefully you're remembering those things. As we read with fluency, we read with great speed, not too fast that anyone knows what you're saying, and not too slow like a robot. At the end of 3rd grade, remember, you're supposed to be about 113 words correct per minute with a 96% accuracy rate, and you should be reading with prosody. Ruby giggled. And you have a sweater that says Fur Baby on it, Uncle Bob. And you have a favorite brand of cheese, I added, winking at Ruby. I am formally a dog of the streets, Bob said, but I have retained all my tough guy smarts. He paused to chew a nail. In any case, I have a feeling those demon dolls are meant to prepare you for the real thing. A real demon? I asked. It seemed unlikely. A real gorilla, said Bob. I stared at him as blankly as the demon dolls had stared at me. A real baby gorilla? Bob said the word slowly and Ruby gasped, ears fluttering. I don't get it, I said, because I didn't. Ivan, my dear friend, said Bob, I have a feeling you're going to be a dad. A dad? I repeated. The words sat in my mouth like food I'd never tasted before. And hopefully you recognize that that sentence had the word like in there, and they're comparing two very different things. So what is that? Hopefully you've thought it's a simile. If you did, looking good. Bob was grinning ear to ear. What'll you be called? Which means what will you be called? Father? Daddy? Big Daddy? How about Papa? Ruby asked, and she did a little happy dance. Or Dada? I sat perfectly still while the words whizzed and dipped around me like buzzing hummingbirds. Another simile. Pops? Bob raced up and down the wall, giddy and panting. Pa? Daddy-o? Sire? Chief? Bobo's nice, Ruby added. Or Pop-Pop. No, Bob froze. I've got it. The one and only, what's his name? I heard the words. Most of them, anyway. Then I may or may not have passed out. But only for a moment or two. And please don't tell Kenyani. When I opened my eyes, Bob and Ruby were staring down at me with goofy grins on their faces. Don't worry, Uncle Ivan, said Ruby. You'll be the best dad ever. Big Daddy, Bob said. I'm liking the sound of that. And there's the picture that goes along with that page. It's a fabulous book. I hope you're enjoying it so far. We're on page 38, entitled Practice. After I'd recovered my senses, I knuckle-ran back to Kenyani. Kenyani! I cried, gasping for breath. Bob says... Uh-oh, she interrupted. Whenever a sentence starts with Bob says, I know we're in trouble. Bob says, I persisted, that maybe the stuffed toys are because they want us to practice. Practice? Kenyani repeated calmly. Practice what? Practice being what? Being parents? Could that possibly even be? Kenyani looked at me with a smile in her eyes that I'll never forget. It said, I have a secret. It said, our lives are about to forever change. It said, hello, Daddy. The next section on page 40 is called The You Know. Once I'd calmed down a bit, Kenyani and I settled onto our favorite place. It's a tree-shaded boulder near a small pond. The rock is as smooth as a banana peel, simile, with a sweet curve that cradles us like a hug from the earth. Sounds like another simile. How long have you known? I asked. About the. It's called a baby, Ivan. Kenyani leaned her head on my shoulder. Well, I thought it was just indigestion. If you ever had that, sometimes your stomach is upset after eating something spicy. But remember the other day when the vet was here for our checkups? There was a lot of smiling and carrying on. She gave a little laugh. And I'm not fluent in human like you, but mama means the same thing for a whole lot of species. I realized I was trembling ever so slightly. Not a good look for a silverback. I leapt off our rock and knuckle-paced back and forth. I stopped pacing when something occurred to me. Wait, why didn't you tell me? Kenyani gave me a sly look. Oh, I was planning on it. I just wanted to find the perfect moment. She sighed. Count on good old Bob to beat me to it. And we'll stop there and we'll pick up on page 42 next time. I hope you enjoyed today's reading. And I am just absolutely enjoying this weather. It's about 70 degrees in Pennsylvania, not like 90 and humid in Florida. So I am definitely enjoying my time here. I hope to hear from you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.